The Arizona sun blazed over Red Rock Valley, its desert plains shimmering under a sky of relentless blue, casting long shadows across the dusty sprawl of the Bennett Ranch. Dr. Claire Bennett stood at the kitchen window of her adobe-style home, her blonde hair pulled into a loose braid, blue eyes tracing the horizon where cacti stood like silent sentinels. At 40, Claire's hands bore the faint ink stains of her accounting work, a steady job at First National Bank that kept her and her 12-year-old daughter, Sophie, afloat after her Marine husband's death 2 years ago. Outside, Sophie laughed, tossing a worn tennis ball across the yard, her brown ponytail bouncing. Titan, their German shepherd, bounded after it, his black and tan coat gleaming, muscular frame moving with a precision that belied his retirement from 3 tours in Afghanistan. It was May 2025, and to the casual eye, Titan was just a family pet. But Claire knew better. He was a warrior, her husband's partner, and their guardian. "Sophie, don't wear him out," Claire called, a smile tugging at her lips, though her voice carried a mother's worry. Titan's limp, a scar from his final mission, was subtle but ever-present. Sophie, kneeling to scratch Titan's ears, grinned back. "He loves it, Mom. He's still a soldier, right?" Claire's throat tightened, tears pricking her eyes. "Always, kiddo," she said softly, her late husband's dog tags heavy in her pocket. Titan had come to them broken, his PTSD flaring at thunderstorms, but Sophie's patience, reading to him, sitting through his tremors, had forged an unbreakable bond. Now his warm brown eyes followed her every move, a silent vow to protect. The ranch, 5 acres of open land, was their sanctuary, but its isolation felt heavier today. Red Rock Valley buzzed with whispers of trouble, pet thefts, break-ins, rumors of cartel scouts from across the border. Ellen Carter, a 55-year-old veterinarian and Claire's friend, had mentioned it at the sanctuary where Titan was rehabilitated. "Keep your eyes open," Ellen had said, her voice low. "Folks say they've seen black vans out by the highway." Claire brushed it off, but Titan's behavior had shifted. Nightly patrols, low growls at shadows, his ears pinned at odd hours. "You sense something, don't you, boy?" she murmured, watching him freeze mid-fetch, his gaze locked on a distant dust cloud, a vehicle, too far to make out. Sophie ran inside, Titan at her heels, his massive frame filling the doorway. "Can Titan come to school for career day?" she asked, brown eyes sparkling, tossing the ball to the floor. "I want to tell everyone he's a Marine," Claire laughed, tears hidden, ruffling her hair. "Not this time, Soph. He's got guard duty here." Titan's tail thumped, but his ears twitched, a low growl rumbling as he stared at the window. Claire's smile faded, her pulse quickening. "What's wrong, buddy?" she said, following his gaze. The dust cloud was closer, a black van idling near the ranch's gate, its tinted windows glinting under the sun. "Stay here," Claire said, voice sharp, grabbing her phone. She stepped onto the porch, Titan's growl deepening, his body tense, ready to spring. The van lingered, then peeled away, leaving a trail of dust. "Just a lost driver," she muttered, but her hands shook, tears welling. Sophie's voice piped up. "Mom, he's okay, right?" Claire forced a nod, tears hidden. "Yeah, kiddo." "Titan's got us." But her gut twisted, her husband's voice echoing. "Trust his instincts, Claire." She dialed Sheriff Mike Vargas, her voice low. Mike saw a van by the ranch, felt off. Mike's tone was grim, tears in his voice. "Cartel's been sniffing around, Claire. Keep Titan close." Inside, Claire locked the doors, her accountant's mind racing, bank codes, high-profile accounts, her late husband's warnings about enemies from his missions. Titan paced, his growl a steady hum, refusing to leave Sophie's side. "You're scaring me, boy," Claire said, tears falling, kneeling beside him. His warm brown eyes met hers, unwavering, a soldier's focus. Sophie hugged him, tears glinting. "He's our hero, Mom, like Dad." Claire's heart ached, tears streaming, the dog tags burning in her pocket. The twist hit like a desert gust. Claire's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Give us the codes, Bennett, or the girls next." Attached was a grainy photo of Sophie at school, Titan's silhouette in the background, his eyes glowing in the dusk. Claire's scream caught, tears streaming, clutching Sophie. "They're watching us," she whispered, voice raw. Titan's bark, thunderous, shaking the cabin. Red Rock Valley's sun sank, its shadows hiding predators, and Claire knew Titan wasn't just a pet. He was their last line of defense against a truth that would stun the town. Red Rock Valley, Arizona, was a sun-scorched patchwork of desert ranches and cacti, its quiet streets hiding the pulse of a town on edge. Inside the Bennett Ranch, a low-slung adobe home baked under the May 2025 sun, Dr. Claire Bennett sat at her kitchen table, her blonde braid frayed, blue eyes scanning bank ledgers on her laptop. At 40, Claire's accountant's precision kept her grounded, but the threatening text from last night. "Give us the codes, Bennett, or the girls next." And the photo of her 12-year-old daughter, Sophie, at school, shadowed by their German Shepherd Titan, had fractured her calm. Titan, a retired Marine with 3 Afghanistan tours, sprawled by the front door, his black and tan coat gleaming, brown eyes sharp despite a faint limp from his war wounds. His low growl, a constant since spotting a black van yesterday, was a warning Claire couldn't ignore. Sophie burst through the door, her brown ponytail bouncing, backpack slung over one shoulder. "Titan's the best guard ever," she said, grinning, dropping to hug the massive dog. Claire forced a smile, tears hidden, her heart tight. "He's one of a kind, Soph," she said, voice soft, stroking Titan's head. Her late husband, a Marine handler, had entrusted Titan to them, his partner's loyalty a living piece of his love. Sophie's chatter about school faded as Claire's phone buzzed. Sheriff Mike Vargas, his voice grim. "Claire, that van's plates are fake," he said, tears in his tone. "Cartel's been hitting banks in Phoenix. You're on their radar." Claire's pulse raced, tears pricking her eyes as she glanced at Sophie, now tossing a ball for Titan in the living room. "Why me, Mike?" she asked, voice low. "I'm just crunching numbers." Mike's sigh was heavy, tears audible. "Your bank handles cartel accounts, dirty money. They want your access codes." Titan's growl deepened, his ears pinned, staring at the window where dust swirled, a vehicle too far to see. Claire's hand shook, tears falling, her husband's dog tags cold in her pocket. "Keep Sophie close," Mike said. "Titan's your best shot." The ranch's isolation, once a comfort, now felt like a trap. Red Rock Valley's gossip, stolen livestock, strange vans, had escalated since Claire's bank flagged suspicious transfers. Dr. Ellen Carter, a 55-year-old veterinarian who'd helped rehabilitate Titan, had warned her at the sanctuary. "Cartel's bold," Ellen said, her voice low, tears in her eyes. "They've got eyes everywhere, Claire." Titan's PTSD, eased by Sophie's love, hadn't dulled his instincts. His nightly patrols, his tense stares at the horizon, screamed danger. "He's on edge," Claire said, tears glinting, watching Titan pace, like he's back in a war zone. Ellen arrived, her gray hair pulled back, carrying a vet bag. "Let me check his chip," she said, tears hidden, scanning Titan's collar. "Sanctuary dogs get trackers. Could be why he's antsy." Sophie knelt by Titan, tears in her eyes. "He's protecting us, right, Mom?" "Like Dad did?" Claire's throat tightened, tears streaming, nodding. "Always, kiddo." Ellen's scanner beeped, her face paling, tears falling. "This chip's broadcasting, Claire. Not to us, to a server. Someone's tracking him. Claire's breath hitched, tears streaming. The cartel? They're using his chip? Titan's growl was thunder, his body tense, ready to strike. Claire's laptop pinged. An email from her bank, flagged urgent. Account breach detected. Codes compromised. They're already in, she whispered, tears falling, showing Ellen. Ryan's voice echoed in her mind. Trust his instincts. We need Mike, she said, dialing, but Titan's bark cut through, his massive form lunging at the door as tires crunched outside, a black van, identical to yesterday, idling at the gate. Sophie's eyes widened, tears glinting. Mom, is that them? Claire pulled her close, tears streaming, Titan's snarl a vow of protection. The twist slammed like a desert storm. Claire's phone buzzed, a new text from the unknown number. Codes now, or Sophie walks with us. Attached was a live feed, Sophie's school playground yesterday, a man in a black jacket watching her, Titan's silhouette blurred but fierce, but the feed's timestamp was wrong. Today, 10 a.m., when Sophie was home. They're faking it, Claire choked, tears streaming, clutching Sophie. Ellen's voice was raw, tears falling. They're here, Claire. That van's not alone. Titan's howl shook the ranch, his marine training kicking in, and Claire knew. The cartel was closing in, unaware their target was guarded by a warrior who'd never back down. The Arizona dusk painted Red Rock Valley in hues of crimson and gold, the desert air cooling as shadows stretched across the Bennett Ranch, a sprawling adobe haven now heavy with dread. Dr. Claire Bennett stood in her living room, her blonde braid unraveling, blue eyes rimmed with tears as she clutched her 12-year-old daughter Sophie close. At 40, Claire's accountant's hands trembled, the weight of her bank codes, coveted by a cartel, pressing like a vice. Titan, their German shepherd, a retired Marine with 3 Afghanistan tours, paced the hardwood floor, his black and tan coat taut over a muscular frame, brown eyes locked on the front door with a low, menacing growl. It was May 2025, and the ranch, once a sanctuary, felt like a target after chilling texts. Give us the codes, and Sophie's next, and a black van stalking their property. Titan's chipped collar, broadcasting to a cartel server, confirmed they were hunted. Claire's phone lay on the table, its screen glowing with a fake video of Sophie at school, time-stamped today despite her being home. They're playing us, Claire whispered, tears streaming, her voice hoarse. Sophie's brown ponytail bobbed as she hugged Titan, tears glinting in her eyes. He'll protect us, Mom, right? She asked, voice small. Claire's heart ached, tears falling, stroking her daughter's hair. Always, Soph, she said, her late husband's dog tags cold in her pocket. Titan's growl deepened, his limp, a war wound, barely slowing him, his marine instincts razor-sharp after spotting the van yesterday. Sheriff Mike Vargas, a 50-year-old with a weathered face, stood by the window, his badge glinting, tears in his eyes as he scanned the horizon. Cartel's desperate, he said, voice grim, gripping his radio. Your bank's their laundry, Claire. They've got insiders. Dr. Ellen Carter, a 55-year-old veterinarian, checked Titan's chip with a sanctuary scanner, her gray hair loose, tears falling. It's still broadcasting, she said, voice trembling, showing a tablet. Locations, movements, to a server in Nogales. They've been tracking him since he retired. Claire's sob caught, tears streaming. They used his chip? My husband's dog? Titan's snarl was thunder, his massive form ready to strike. The ranch's isolation, 5 acres of open desert, was a double-edged sword. Freedom for Titan, exposure for them. Red Rock Valley's whispers, missing pets, cartel scouts had grown louder, and Claire's bank had flagged transfers tied to Mexican accounts. "Why us, Mike?" Claire asked, tears falling, her accountant's mind racing. "I just processed numbers." Mike's voice was raw, tears glinting. "You've got access to their dirty cash. Millions. They'll kill for it." Sophie's eyes widened, tears streaming, hugging Titan tighter. "Like Dad?" she whispered, her father's death a fresh wound. Claire's tears fell, voice breaking. "No, honey, Titan won't let that happen." Ellen's scanner beeped, pulling a log from Titan's chip, coordinates, timestamps, and a name. Deputy Carl Hayes. Claire's blood ran cold, tears streaming. "Carl? Mike's deputy?" she choked, recalling his visits, his easy smile at Sophie's school events. Mike's face paled, tears falling. "He's been on my team 10 years, he said, voice raw, grabbing his radio. "Tara, check Hayes's logs, now." Tara Brooks, a 35-year-old hacker working with Mike, had been tracing PineNet's server, her voice crackling through. "Hayes accessed your bank's firewall, Claire. He's dirty." Titan's growl was a low hum, his ears pinned, sniffing the air as a faint engine hummed outside, the van, back, its headlights cutting through the dusk. "Get down!" Mike shouted, tears glinting, shoving Claire and Sophie behind the couch. Titan lunged to the door, his bark deafening, ready to defend. Ellen grabbed a kitchen knife, tears streaming, her voice fierce. "They're not taking her, Claire." Sophie's sob was muffled, tears falling, clutching Titan's fur. "Don't let 'em, Mom." Claire's tears streamed, her voice raw. "We won't, Soph." The van's engine idled, then faded, a taunt. But Titan's snarl didn't waver, his marine training locked on the threat. Mike's radio buzzed, Tara's voice urgent. "Hayes is offline. Last ping was a mile from you. He's with them." Claire's laptop pinged, an alert from her bank. Code access attempted. Security breach. "They're in my system," she said, tears falling, showing Mike. "They don't need me. They're hacking it now." Ellen's voice was grim, tears glinting. "Titan's chip. It's got more than locations. Financial logs, cartel accounts, your codes, Claire." Claire's heart stopped, tears streaming. "They chipped him to steal everything?" Titan's howl shook the ranch, his massive form a wall between Sophie and the door, his eyes burning with purpose. The twist hit like a sandstorm. Sophie's phone, forgotten on the table, buzzed. A text from her number, sent to Claire. "Walk home, Mom's late." But Sophie was here, her eyes wide, tears falling. "I didn't send that," she cried, voice shaking. Claire's blood froze, tears streaming, grabbing the phone. "They're spoofing her." Tara's voice crackled, tears audible. "It's Hayes. He's luring you out." Mike's face hardened, tears falling. "They're not after codes, Claire. They want Sophie, for leverage." Titan's bark was a war cry, his marine instincts flaring, and Claire clutched her daughter, tears streaming. The desert night closed in, Red Rock Valley's heart a cartel hunting ground, and Claire knew Titan's vigilance was their only shield against a truth that would stun them all. The Arizona night draped Red Rock Valley in a suffocating darkness, the desert air thick with the scent of dust and menace as the Bennett Ranch stood like a lone outpost under siege. Dr. Claire Bennett crouched behind the kitchen counter of her adobe home, her blonde braid unraveling, blue eyes streaming tears as she clutched her 12-year-old daughter Sophie, whose brown ponytail trembled against her shoulder. At 40, Claire's accountant's hands shook, the weight of her bank codes, coveted by a cartel, now a death sentence. Titan, their German shepherd, a retired Marine with 3 Afghanistan tours, stood at the front door, his black and tan coat taut over a muscular frame, brown eyes blazing with a warrior's focus, his growl a low thunder that shook the floor. It was May 2025, and the ranch, 5 acres of open desert, was no longer a sanctuary but a trap. A spoofed text from Sophie's phone. "Walk home, Mom's late." And a black van circling the property confirmed the cartel's target. Sophie, for leverage to steal Claire's codes. Claire's heart pounded, tears falling as she whispered, "Stay quiet, Soph." Sophie's tears soaked her shirt, her voice a whimper. "Titan'll save us. Right, Mom?" Claire's throat tightened, tears streaming, nodding. "He's got us, honey." Her late husband's dog tags burned in her pocket, his voice echoing, "Trust his instincts." Titan's chipped collar, broadcasting to a cartel server, had exposed their surveillance. And Deputy Carl Hayes, Sheriff Mike Vargas's right-hand man, was a traitor, feeding PineNet her bank secrets. The van's headlights had faded, but the threat lingered, its engine a faint hum in the distance. Sheriff Mike Vargas, a 50-year-old with a weathered face, stood by the window, his badge glinting, tears in his eyes as he gripped his radio. "Hayes is off the grid," he said, voice grim, tears falling. "Tara's tracing his last ping, near the highway." Dr. Ellen Carter, a 55-year-old veterinarian, knelt by Titan, her gray hair loose, tears streaming as she rechecked his chip. "It's still active," she said, voice trembling, tablet glowing. "Bank logs, cartel accounts. They're using him to track you, Claire." Claire's sob tore free, tears streaming. "They chipped my husband's dog." "For money?" Titan's snarl was fierce, his limp a war wound, forgotten, ready to strike. The ranch's isolation was a cartel's dream. Open land, no neighbors, a perfect snatch. Red Rock Valley's whispers, pet thefts, cartel scouts had become a roar, and Claire's bank had flagged transfers tied to Nogales. "Why Sophie?" Claire asked, tears falling, her voice raw. "I'd give the codes." Mike's tears glinted, his voice low. "Leverage, Claire. They take her. You'll do anything." Sophie's eyes widened, tears streaming, hugging Titan's massive frame. "Like Dad? In the war?" she whispered, her father's death a gaping wound. Claire's tears fell, voice breaking. "No, Soph, Titan's here." Ellen's tablet beeped, pulling a new log. Coordinates, a safe house 10 miles away, labeled PineNet Hub. "They're staging there," she said, tears falling, voice urgent. "Sophie's their ticket." Mike's radio crackled. Tara Brooks, their 35-year-old hacker ally, breaking through. "Hayes met a cartel fixer, Ramirez, at noon. They're moving tonight." Titan's growl turned frantic, his nose sniffing the air, pointing to the back door, where a faint scrape sounded, boots on gravel. "They're here," Mike hissed, tears glinting, drawing his pistol, signaling Claire to stay low. Sophie's sob was muffled, tears falling, clutching Titan's fur. "Don't let him take me," she whispered, voice shaking. Claire grabbed a kitchen knife, tears streaming, her voice fierce. "They won't, Soph." Titan lunged to the back door, his bark deafening, a Marine's precision in every move. Mike cracked the door, peering out, but headlights flared, the black van, now joined by a second, screeching into the yard. "Get Sophie out!" Mike yelled, tears falling, firing a warning shot, the crack echoing through the desert. Ellen shoved Claire toward the side exit, tears streaming. "Go now!" But the front door exploded inward. 3 men in black masks storming in, rifles raised, night fang crescents glinting on their sleeves. "The girl!" one barked, but Titan was a blur. 140 pounds of muscle slamming into the leader, jaws crushing his arm, the rifle clattering. "Run!" Claire screamed, tears streaming, pulling Sophie toward the side door, but a fourth man blocked it, zip-tying Sophie's wrists, his accent thick. "Move, lady, or she's done!" Sophie's scream pierced Claire's heart, tears falling as she slashed with the knife, grazing his arm. Titan spun, releasing his first target, and charged, jaws snapping at the man's leg, toppling him. "Titan!" Sophie cried, tears streaming, kicking free, but a fifth man grabbed her, dragging her toward the van. Claire lunged, tears falling, but a rifle butt struck her temple, her vision blurring, tears mixing with blood. The twist hit like a desert flash flood. As Claire fell, a new voice cut through, a woman, 30, in a deputy's jacket, firing from the pines. "Drop her!" she shouted, tears streaming, downing an operative. Claire's vision cleared, tears falling, recognizing her. Tara Brooks, not just a hacker, but an undercover Fed, infiltrating Pine Net. "Tara?" Mike choked, tears glinting, firing at another operative. "You're with the Feds?" Tara's voice was raw, tears falling. "Been tracking Hayes for months. He sold you out, Claire." Titan's howl was primal, pinning the man holding Sophie, his jaws a vice, as Raven's chip, still in Ellen's tablet, beeped, revealing a live feed. The safe house, cartel men loading crates, children's cries, faint but real. Claire's tears streamed, voice raw. "They've got kids, like Sophie." The vans revved, operatives retreating, but Sophie was free, Titan's massive form her shield, and Claire knew the cartel's war was just beginning, with a warrior dog they'd never outrun. The Arizona desert night was a shroud of danger, the Red Rock Valley air thick with dust and gunpowder as the Bennett Ranch stood battered, its adobe walls scarred by gunfire. Dr. Claire Bennett knelt in the kitchen, her blonde braid loose, blue eyes streaming tears as she pressed a cloth to a gash on her temple, blood seeping through her fingers. At 40, Claire's accountant's hands shook, the weight of her bank codes, key to a cartel's millions, now a noose tightening around her and her 12-year-old daughter, Sophie. Sophie huddled beside her, brown ponytail askew, tears falling as she clung to Titan, their German shepherd, a retired Marine with 3 Afghanistan tours. His black and tan coat was matted with sweat, brown eyes fierce, a low growl rumbling as he guarded the door, his limp forgotten in the heat of battle. It was May 2025, and the ranch, 5 acres of open desert, was a war zone after a cartel ambush. Claire's codes, Sophie's abduction attempt, and Titan's chipped collar, streaming to Pine Net, had exposed a traitor, Deputy Carl Hayes, working with cartel fixer Ramirez. Claire's sob tore free, tears streaming as she hugged Sophie. "You're safe now, Soph," she whispered, voice raw, though her heart pounded with dread. Sophie's tears soaked her shirt, her voice trembling. "Titan stopped him, Mom." "Like Dad would've." Claire's throat tightened, tears falling, her late husband's dog tag searing in her pocket. Titan's marine instincts had thwarted the cartel's grab, his jaws disabling operatives, but the black vans had fled, their threat lingering. Sheriff Mike Vargas, a 50-year-old with a weathered face, stood by the shattered front door, badge glinting, tears in his eyes as he coordinated deputies. "Hayes is in the wind," he said, voice grim, tears falling. "Tara's got his last ping, safe house 10 miles out." Dr. Ellen Carter, a 55-year-old veterinarian, patched Titan's grazed flank, her gray hair loose, tears streaming. "His chip's still broadcasting," she said, voice trembling, tablet glowing with Pine Net logs, bank accounts, cartel routes, and a chilling list. Target, Sophie Bennett, leverage acquisition. Claire's heart stopped, tears streaming. "They want her to control me?" she choked, clutching Sophie. Ellen's tears fell, voice fierce. "Titan's fighting it, Claire. He's no pet. He's a soldier." Tara Brooks, a 35-year-old hacker and undercover Fed, burst in, her dark eyes sharp, tears glinting. "Hayes sold your codes to Ramirez," she said, voice raw, laptop open. "But the chips got more Aegis experiments, Claire. They doped Titan's litter for tracking." Claire's blood ran cold, tears streaming. "They experimented on him?" she said, voice breaking, stroking Titan's head. His growl was steady, his massive frame a shield, but the chip's betrayal cut deep. Her husband's partner turned into a cartel tool. Sophie's tears fell, voice small. "He's still our hero, right?" Claire's tears streamed, nodding. "Always, Soph." Mike's radio crackled, a deputy's voice urgent. "Safe house is active. Kids, Claire. They're holding kids." Claire's sob was raw, tears falling. "Like Sophie." "How many?" Tara's voice was grim, tears glinting. "Dozens. Pine Net's a trafficking hub, not just money. The ranch's open land, once Titan's playground, was now a kill zone. Red Rock Valley's cartel rumors, pet thefts, bank hacks were no longer whispers. Claire's bank had flagged transfers tied to Nogales, and Hayes had accessed her firewall. "Why kids?" Claire asked, tears falling, her voice raw. Mike's tears streamed, his voice low. "Leverage, profit, cartels don't care. Hayes gave 'em your codes, but Sophie's their real prize." Ellen's tablet beeped, pulling a new log. Safe house schematics, guard rotations, and a name. Voss Allen. Claire's eyes widened, tears streaming. "Voss, the sanctuary donor?" she choked, recalling his visits, his praise for Titan's litter. Tara's voice was fierce, tears falling. "He's Ramirez's boss. PineNet's mastermind." Titan's bark cut through, his nose sniffing the air, pointing to the backyard where a faint hum sounded. A drone, its camera glinting, hovering over the cacti. "Down!" Mike yelled, tears glinting, diving as the drone's laser dot danced across Sophie's shadow. Claire shoved Sophie behind the couch, tears streaming, shielding her as Ryan fired, shattering the drone, its wreckage sparking in the dirt. "They're circling," Tara said, tears falling, laptop open. "Hayes is there, safe house now." Titan's growl was thunder, his marine training locked on, his massive form ready to charge. Sophie's tears streamed, voice shaking. "They won't get me, right, Titan?" The dog's warm eyes met hers, a vow unbroken. Claire grabbed her phone, tears streaming, dialing her bank's security line, but the call dropped, a signal jam. "They're cutting us off," she said, voice raw, tears falling, showing Mike. Ellen's voice was urgent, tears glinting. "Titan's chip. It's streaming our moves. We need to disable it." But Tara's laptop pinged, a live feed from the safe house. Children in cages, cartel men loading crates, Voss's cold face in the frame. "He's there," Tara said, tears streaming, voice fierce. "We hit now or Sophie's next." The twist hit like a desert quake. Titan's chip beeped, pulling a hidden file, a video time-stamped yesterday showing Hayes at Claire's bank, slipping a USB into her terminal, his deputy badge glinting. But the video's metadata named a second traitor, Ellen Carter. Claire's blood froze, tears streaming, turning to Ellen, whose face paled, tears falling. "Ellen?" she choked, voice breaking. "You're with them?" Ellen's sob was raw, tears streaming, hands raised. No, Claire, they forced me. My brother's a hostage. I fed Tara intel to stop him. Mike's pistol wavered, tears glinting. You knew about Hayes? Ellen's voice broke, tears falling. I had to play along. To save him. Titan's howl shook the ranch, his jaws inches from Ellen, but his eyes held. Trust, not betrayal. Claire's tears streamed, voice raw. Prove it, Ellen. Help us save Sophie. The desert night roared, Red Rock Valley's heart a cartel snare, and Claire knew Titan's instincts were their only path through a truth that would stun them all. The Red Rock Valley night was a furnace of fear, the Arizona desert pulsing with the heat of danger as the Bennett Ranch lay in shambles, its adobe walls pockmarked by cartel gunfire. Claire Bennett stood in the shattered kitchen, her blonde braid undone, blue eyes streaming tears as she gripped a knife, her accountant's hands slick with sweat. At 40, Claire's heart thundered. The cartel's demand for her bank codes, now a death warrant for her 12-year-old daughter, Sophie, who crouched beside her, brown ponytail trembling, tears falling. Titan, their German shepherd, a retired Marine with 3 Afghanistan tours, guarded the doorway, his black and tan coat taut over a muscular frame, brown eyes blazing with a warrior's resolve, his growl a low rumble despite a grazed flank. It was May 2025, and the ranch, 5 acres of open desert, was a battlefield after a failed cartel grab for Sophie, exposed by Titan's instincts and a chipped collar streaming to pine net. Deputy Carl Hayes's betrayal, and now Dr. Ellen Carter's coerced role, had unveiled a trafficking network led by Dr. Alan Voss, with a safe house holding dozens of children. Claire's sob tore free, tears streaming as she clutched Sophie. "We're getting out, Soph," she whispered, voice raw, though dread choked her. Sophie's tears soaked her shirt, her voice a whimper. "Titan'll stop 'em, Mom, right?" Claire's throat tightened, tears falling, nodding. "He's our soldier, honey." Her late husband's dog tags burned in her pocket, his voice echoing. Trust his instincts. Sheriff Mike Vargas, a 50-year-old with a weathered face, stood by the bullet-riddled door, badge glinting, tears in his eyes. "Feds are mobilizing," he said, voice grim, gripping his radio. "Safe house raids in motion, but Voss's men are circling." Tara Brooks, a 35-year-old hacker and undercover Fed, typed furiously on her laptop, tears streaming. "Hayes is at the safe house," she said, voice raw, screen showing a live feed. Children in cages, Voss's cold face. "He's Voss's eyes, Doctor." Ellen Carter, a 55-year-old veterinarian, knelt by Titan, her gray hair loose, tears falling as she held her tablet, its data from Titan's chip a lifeline. "I didn't want this, Claire," she said, voice trembling, tears streaming. "They've got my brother. Voss would have killed him." Claire's eyes burned, tears falling, knife steady despite her pain. "You should have told me, Ellen," she said, voice breaking. "But you're with us now. Prove it." Titan's growl softened, his brown eyes meeting Ellen's, a Marine's trust earned. Sophie's voice was small, tears glinting. "You're not bad, are you, Ellen?" Ellen's sob was raw, tears falling. "No, Soph. I'm saving him like Titan's saving you." The ranch's open desert was a cartel's playground, its isolation a death trap. Red Rock Valley's cartel activity, pet thefts, bank hacks, had exploded. Claire's bank a laundering hub for Nogales cash. "Why kids, Mike?" Claire asked, tears streaming, her voice raw. "Why Sophie?" Mike's tears fell, voice low. "Control, Claire. They take her. You give 'em billions." Tara's laptop pinged, pulling a new log. Safe house schematics, guard posts, and a chilling note. "Aegis Serum, K9 Enhancement, Batch 3. Claire's blood ran cold, tears streaming. They doped Titan's litter? She choked, recalling Voss's visits, his tests on sanctuary dogs. Ellen's voice was grim, tears glinting. Aegis made 'em trackers, super soldiers. Titan's chip holds their formula. Titan's bark was sharp, his nose sniffing the air, pointing to the backyard where gravel crunched, boots too close. "They're back," Mike yelled, tears falling, pistol raised, shoving Claire and Sophie behind the counter. Tara slammed her laptop shut, tears streaming, drawing a concealed gun. "They want the chip," she said, voice fierce. Ellen grabbed a flashlight, tears falling, voice urgent. "There's a storm cellar, back door, move!" Sophie's tears streamed, clutching Titan's fur. "Don't let him get me, Titan." The dog's massive form pressed against her, a vow of protection, his limp ignored. The back door splintered, 2 Night Fang operatives bursting in, rifles glinting, crescents on their sleeves. "The girl now!" one barked, but Titan was lightning, 140 pounds of muscle slamming into the leader, jaws crushing his wrist, the rifle skidding across the floor. Claire swung her knife, tears streaming, slashing the second man's arm, but a third operative grabbed Sophie, zip-tying her wrists, dragging her toward the yard. "Mom!" Sophie screamed, tears falling, kicking wildly. Mike fired, clipping the man's leg, tears glinting, but a fourth operative tackled him, pistol raised. "Codes, Bennett," he snarled, but Titan spun, jaws snapping, toppling him, blood staining his muzzle. Claire lunged, tears streaming, freeing Sophie's wrists with the knife, but headlights flared, 2 vans, their engines roaring, operatives spilling out. Tara fired, downing one, tears falling, voice raw. "Get to the cellar." Ellen shoved Sophie toward a trap door, tears streaming, but a drone buzzed overhead, its laser dot locking on Claire. "Down!" Mike yelled, tears glinting, tackling her as the drone fired, a dart embedding in the wall, tranquilizer meant for Titan. The dog's howl was primal, leaping to shield Sophie, his marine training a blur of precision. The twist hit like a desert flash flood. Ellen's tablet beeped, pulling a hidden file from Titan's chip, a video time-stamped hours ago showing Voss at the sanctuary, injecting a caged German shepherd with Aegis, its eyes glowing like Titan's. But the voice wasn't Voss's. It was Mike Vargas ordering the dose. Claire's blood froze, tears streaming, turning to Mike, whose face paled, tears falling. "Mike?" she choked, voice breaking, knife raised. "Your pine net?" Mike's sob was raw, tears streaming, hands up. "No, Claire. It was years ago. I was undercover infiltrating Voss. I quit when I saw what Aegis did." Tara's voice was fierce, tears falling. "He's clean, Claire. Titan trusts him." The dog's growl softened, his eyes on Mike, a marine's bond unbroken. Claire's tears streamed, voice raw. "You better be telling the truth, Mike." The vans roared closer, operatives advancing, and Claire knew. Titan's instincts were their only hope, with a traitor's shadow and a safe house of horrors waiting. The Arizona desert night was a crucible of terror, the Red Rock Valley sands glowing under a moon choked by storm clouds, the Bennett Ranch a battered fortress riddled with bullet holes. Dr. Claire Bennett sprinted through the backyard, her blonde hair loose, blue eyes streaming tears as she dragged her 12-year-old daughter, Sophie, toward the storm cellar. Sophie's brown ponytail swinging, her face pale with fear. At 40, Claire's accountant's hands gripped Sophie's wrist, her heart hammering as Cartel operatives closed in, their black vans roaring, Night Fang crescents glinting on their sleeves. Titan, their German shepherd, a retired Marine with 3 Afghanistan tours, charged beside them, his black and tan coat bloodied, brown eyes blazing despite a grazed flank, his growl a thunderous vow to protect. It was May 2025, and the ranch, 5 acres of open desert, was a kill zone after a failed cartel grab for Sophie. Leverage for Claire's bank codes. The revelation that Sheriff Mike Vargas had once worked with PineNet's mastermind, Dr. Alan Voss, under duress, and Deputy Carl Hayes's betrayal, had turned trust to ash, with a safe house of captive children 10 miles away. Claire's sob tore free, tears freezing on her cheeks as she shoved Sophie into the cellar, its iron door creaking. "Stay low, Soph," she cried, voice raw, slamming the door shut. Sophie's tears streamed, her voice a whimper through the metal. "Mom, don't leave me." Claire's heart shattered, tears falling, pressing her hand to the door. "Titan's got us, honey," she choked, her late husband's dog tags searing in her pocket. Titan's massive frame blocked the cellar, jaws snapping at an operative lunging from the pines, rifle raised. The man screamed, his arm crushed, rifle clattering, as Titan's marine precision turned chaos into a weapon. Sheriff Mike Vargas, 50, his weathered face streaked with tears, fired from behind a cacti cluster, downing another operative, his badge glinting under flashlight beams. "Claire, move!" he yelled, voice grim, tears falling, reloading his pistol. "Doctor." Ellen Carter, a 55-year-old veterinarian, clutched her tablet, its PineNet feed showing Voss at the safe house, her gray hair loose, tears streaming. "Kids, Claire. Dozens caged," she said, voice trembling, dodging a bullet. Tara Brooks, a 35-year-old hacker and undercover fed, covered them, her pistol blazing, tears glinting. "Hayes is inside," she shouted, voice raw, laptop slung over her shoulder. "He's Voss's trigger man." The cartel's assault was relentless, their vans circling, operatives spilling into the yard. Claire's bank codes, tied to millions in laundered cartel cash, were their prize, but Sophie was their leverage. Titan's chipped collar, streaming to PineNet, had exposed Aegis experiments, serum enhancing his litter into super trackers. "They doped him?" Claire choked, tears streaming, knife in hand, slashing at an operative's arm as he grabbed for the cellar. Titan spun, jaws crushing the man's leg, a howl shaking the night, his limp ignored. Sophie's muffled cry came through the door, tears audible. "Titan, hurry!" Claire's tears fell, voice fierce. "We're coming, Soph." Mike's radio crackled, a federal agent's voice urgent. "Safe house breached. Kid secured, but Voss is armed." Tara's laptop showed Voss holding a detonator, crates of Aegis serum stacked behind him. "He'll blow it," she cried, tears streaming, firing at an operative. Ellen's voice was raw, tears falling. "Titan's chip. It's got the safe house's fail-safe code." "We can stop him." Claire's blood ran cold, tears streaming. "His chip? They turned my dog into their key?" Titan's growl was a war cry, his massive form a shield as operatives advanced, their rifles glinting. A new roar cut through, an SUV, unmarked, crashing through the cacti, its headlights blinding. Deputy Carl Hayes stepped out, his 40-year-old face cold, a rifle raised, Nightfang crescent on his sleeve. "Codes, Bennett," he barked, tears absent, aiming at Claire. Mike's sob tore free, tears streaming, pistol wavering. "Carl, you sold us out." Hayes's laugh was venom, tears gone. "Voss pays better, Mike." "Sophie's my ticket." Claire's scream was raw, tears falling, lunging with her knife, but Hayes sidestepped, grabbing her arm, twisting it. "You're done," he snarled, but Titan was a blur. 140 pounds of muscle slamming into Hayes, jaws crushing his shoulder, the rifle skidding into the dirt. "Mom!" Sophie's cry echoed, the cellar door creaking as she pushed it open, tears streaming, crawling out. Claire broke free, tears falling, pulling Sophie behind a crate, but operatives closed in, their flashlights pinning them. Tara fired, downing one, tears streaming, voice fierce. "Get to the truck!" Ellen shoved her tablet into Claire's hands, tears falling, voice urgent. "The code, use it!" But a second SUV roared up, Ramirez, the cartel fixer, emerging, his 50-year-old face scarred, a pistol raised. "The chip, Bennett!" he shouted, tears absent, firing a dart, tranquilizer grazing Titan's flank. The dog staggered, his howl faltering, but stood, jaws snapping, shielding Sophie. The twist hit like a desert lightning strike. Ellen's tablet flashed, pulling a hidden audio file from Titan's chip. Voss's voice, hours ago, at the sanctuary. "Hayes, take the girl. Ramirez, secure the serum. Carter's brothers expendable." Claire's blood froze, tears streaming, turning to Ellen, whose face crumpled, tears falling. "My brother, he's dead?" she choked, voice breaking, tablet slipping. Claire's tears streamed, voice raw. "You didn't know?" Ellen's sob was raw, tears streaming, grabbing a fallen rifle. "I trusted Voss. I'm ending this." Mike's voice was fierce, tears falling. "Ellen, you're with us." Titan's growl surged, shaking off the dart's haze, his marine training a beacon, his massive form lunging at Ramirez, jaws crushing his wrist, the pistol flying. Operatives scattered, deputies storming the yard, federal choppers roaring overhead, their spotlights bathing the chaos. Claire clutched Sophie, tears streaming, knife raised, voice raw. "We're getting out, Soph." Tara tackled an operative, tears falling, voice fierce. "Go!" Ellen fired, covering them, tears streaming, her betrayal turned to vengeance. Titan stood over Ramirez, blood on his muzzle, his howl a vow unbroken, Sophie's tears falling as she hugged him. "You're my hero," she whispered, voice shaking. The desert night burned, Red Rock Valley's heart a cartel inferno, and Claire knew. Titan's instincts were their only path to the safe house where Voss's endgame and a truth that would stun them waited. The Arizona desert night was a cauldron of chaos, the Red Rock Valley sands lit by the flicker of gunfire and the roar of federal choppers slicing through the starless sky. Dr. Claire Bennett sprinted across the open desert, her blonde hair matted with sweat and blood, blue eyes streaming tears as she pulled her 12-year-old daughter, Sophie, toward a rusted pickup truck hidden behind a cacti grove. At 40, Claire's accountant's hands gripped Sophie's arm, her heart pounding like a war drum, the cartel's pursuit relentless after their failed grab at the ranch. Sophie's brown ponytail swung wildly, tears streaking her face, her voice a sob. "Mom, they're coming!" Titan, their German shepherd, a retired Marine with 3 Afghanistan tours, ran beside them, his black and tan coat bloodied, brown eyes blazing with a warrior's fury despite a tranquilizer dart's graze. His growl was a thunderous shield, his massive frame a bulwark against the Night Fang operatives swarming the ranch, their rifles glinting with crescent insignias. It was May 2025, and the Bennett Ranch, 5 acres of open desert, was a graveyard of shattered trust after Deputy Carl Hayes's betrayal, Dr. Ellen Carter's coerced role, and Sheriff Mike Vargas's past with Pine Net's mastermind, Dr. Alan Voss, who held a safe house of captive children 10 miles away. Claire's breath burned, tears streaming as she shoved Sophie into the truck's cab. "Get down, Soph," she cried, voice raw, slamming the door. Sophie's tears soaked her shirt, her voice trembling. "Titan'll save us, right?" Claire's heart clenched, tears falling, nodding as she climbed in, gripping the keys. "He's our hero, honey," she choked, her late husband's dog tags searing in her pocket. Titan leaped into the truck bed, his jaws snapping at an operative lunging from the shadows, rifle raised. The man screamed, arm crushed, as Titan's marine precision turned the desert into a battlefield, his limp forgotten in the fray. Sheriff Mike Vargas, 50, his weathered face streaked with tears, fired from behind a boulder, downing an operative, his badge glinting under chopper lights. "Claire, drive!" he yelled, voice grim, tears falling, reloading his pistol. Dr. Ellen Carter, 55, ran beside him, her gray hair loose, tears streaming, clutching a rifle she'd taken from a fallen cartel man. "I'm with you, Claire," she shouted, voice raw, firing to cover them, her brother's death at Voss's hands fueling her vengeance. Tara Brooks, a 35-year-old hacker and undercover fed, sprinted alongside, tears glinting, her laptop slung over her shoulder, pistol blazing. "Safe house is live," she cried, voice fierce, dodging a bullet. "Voss's got explosives. Kids are inside." The cartel's assault was a storm, their vans roaring through the desert, operatives spilling into the night. Claire's bank codes, tied to billions in laundered cash, were their goal, but Sophie was their leverage, and Titan's chipped collar, streaming pine net secrets, held the key to Voss's Aegis serum, enhancing dogs into super trackers. "They doped him," Claire choked, tears streaming, flooring the gas, the truck lurching over sand. Titan's howl shook the night, his massive form braced in the bed, jaws ready as a van gained, its headlights blinding. Sophie's tears fell, voice small. "He's like Dad, isn't he? Never giving up?" Claire's tears streamed, voice breaking. "Just like him, Soph." Mike's radio crackled, a federal agent's voice urgent. "Safe house is surrounded. Voss is barricaded. Detonator active." Tara's laptop showed Voss, wild-eyed, crates of Aegis serum stacked, children huddled in cages. "He'll blow it," she shouted, tears streaming, firing at an operative climbing the truck's tailgate. Ellen's voice was fierce, tears falling. "Titan's chip has the fail-safe code. Use it." Claire's blood ran cold, tears streaming, clutching the tablet. "His chip? They turned my dog into their weapon?" Titan's growl was a vow, his eyes locked on the pursuing van, ready to strike. A new roar cut through, an armored SUV crashing through the cacti, its driver unmasked. Carl Hayes, the traitor deputy, his 40-year-old face twisted, rifle raised. "Sophie's mine," he barked, tears absent, firing, a bullet grazing the truck's fender. Mike's sob tore free, tears streaming, firing back. "You sold us, Carl!" Claire swerved, tears falling, voice raw. "You'll never touch her!" But operatives flanked them, their rifles glinting, a second van cutting off the road, forcing Claire to brake. "Out!" an operative shouted, but Titan was a whirlwind, leaping from the bed, jaws crushing the man's arm, rifle skidding into the sand. "Mom!" Sophie screamed, tears streaming, as another operative yanked her door open, zip-tying her wrists. Claire lunged, tears falling, knife slashing, but a rifle butt struck her shoulder, pain exploding, tears mixing with blood. Tara fired, downing one, tears streaming, voice fierce. "Hold on." Ellen tackled another, tears falling, rifle swinging, but Hayes grabbed Sophie, dragging her toward the SUV, his voice cold. "Codes, Bennett, or she's gone." Titan's howl was primal, breaking free, charging Hayes, jaws snapping at his leg, toppling him. Sophie kicked, tears streaming, freeing herself, scrambling back to Claire. The twist hit like a desert tempest. Tara's laptop flashed, pulling a new file from Titan's chip. A live audio, Voss's voice hours ago. "Hayes, you're expendable. Ramirez, take Sophie." The girl's my leverage, not the codes. Claire's blood froze, tears streaming, turning to Hayes, who paled, tears falling, rifle wavering. "Expendable?" he choked, voice breaking, staring at the operatives now aiming at him. "Voss betrayed me?" Mike's voice was fierce, tears streaming. "You're done, Carl." "Drop it." Tara's tears fell, voice raw. "He used you, Hayes. Help us stop him." Hayes's sob tore free, tears streaming, tossing his rifle. hands raised. "I didn't know about the kids," he said, voice raw, collapsing to his knees. Operatives fired, bullets shredding the sand, but Titan was a storm, jaws snapping, disabling two, his bloodied coat a badge of valor. Claire pulled Sophie into the truck, tears streaming, voice raw. "We're getting to that safe house." Ellen shoved Hayes toward deputies, tears falling, voice fierce. "You're redeeming yourself, Carl. Move." Mike's pistol blazed, tears glinting, covering them as choppers descended, federal agents rappelling into the fray. Tara's voice was urgent, tears streaming. "The fail-safe code. It's in Titan's chip. We can save 'em." Sophie's tears fell, hugging Titan, voice shaking. "You're our soldier, Titan." The dog's massive form stood firm, his howl a beacon, and Claire floored the gas, the truck roaring toward the safe house, where Voss's endgame, a bomb, kids, and a truth that would stun Red Rock Valley, waited, with Titan's instincts their only guide. The Arizona desert night roared with the fury of a sandstorm, the Red Rock Valley plains lit by the staccato flash of gunfire and the thundering blades of federal choppers carving through the inky sky. Dr. Claire Bennett floored the gas pedal of a battered pickup truck, her blonde hair matted with blood and sweat, blue eyes streaming tears as she navigated the rutted desert trail toward a Cartel safe house 10 miles from her shattered ranch. At 40, Claire's accountant's hands gripped the wheel, her heart a war drum as she fought to save her 12-year-old daughter Sophie, who huddled in the passenger seat, brown ponytail askew, tears streaking her pale face. Titan, their German shepherd, a retired Marine with 3 Afghanistan tours, braced in the truck bed, his black and tan coat bloodied, brown eyes blazing with unyielding resolve despite a tranquilizer dart's graze and a bullet wound. His growl was a primal shield, his massive frame a fortress against the Night Fang operatives pursuing them, their black vans screaming through the desert, crescent insignias glinting like death's promise. It was May 2025, and the Bennett Ranch, 5 acres of open sand, was a distant ruin after a cartel ambush for Claire's bank codes, exposed by Titan's chipped collar streaming to Pine Net. Deputy Carl Hayes's betrayal, Dr. Ellen Carter's coerced role, Sheriff Mike Vargas's past with Pine Net's mastermind, Dr. Alan Voss, and now Hayes's redemption had led them here, to a safe house holding dozens of captive children, Voss's detonator poised to bury his empire. Claire's breath burned, tears streaming as she swerved around a cactus, Sophie's sob piercing her heart. "Mom, we'll save 'em, right?" Sophie asked, voice trembling, clutching a knife she'd grabbed from the ranch. Claire's throat tightened, tears falling, her late husband's dog tag searing in her pocket. "We will, Soph," she choked, voice raw, glancing at Titan, whose howl shook the truck, a Marine's vow unbroken. Sheriff Mike Vargas, 50, his weathered face streaked with tears, rode in the bed, firing at a pursuing van, his badge glinting under chopper lights. "Keep going, Claire!" he yelled, voice grim, tears falling, reloading his pistol. Dr. Ellen Carter, 55, her gray hair loose, tears streaming, clutched her tablet, its Pine Net feed showing Voss in the safe house, detonator in hand, crates of Aegis serum stacked. "Kids, caged," she said, voice trembling, firing a scavenged rifle, her brother's death at Voss's hands fueling her fight. Tara Brooks, a 35-year-old hacker and undercover Fed, knelt beside Mike, tears glinting, her laptop open, pistol blazing. "Titan's chip has the failsafe code," she shouted, voice fierce, dodging a bullet. The safe house loomed, a concrete bunker half buried in the dunes, its windows dark, smoke curling from a breached door. Claire's bank codes, tied to billions in cartel cash, were Voss's obsession, but Sophie was his leverage, and Titan's chip held Pine Net's secrets. Aegis, enhancing dogs into super trackers, and now the key to disarming Voss's bomb. "They doped my dog," Claire choked, tears streaming, clutching Ellen's tablet, its schematics glowing. "For this?" Sophie's tears fell, voice small. "He's still Titan, Mom. Like Dad, never quits." Claire's tears streamed, voice breaking. "Just like him, Soph." The vans gained, bullets shredding the truck's tailgate. Mike fired, downing a driver, tears falling, voice raw. "We're close." Ellen's rifle jammed, tears streaming, voice fierce. "I'm not losing you, Claire." Tara's laptop pinged, pulling a new log. Safe house guards, 12. Voss's detonator wired to Aegis crates. "He'll blow it all!" she cried, tears streaming, firing at an operative climbing the truck. Titan leaped, jaws crushing the man's arm, his howl a war cry, blood staining his muzzle. Claire swerved, tires screaming, the safe house 500 yards away. But a third van cut them off, Ramirez, the cartel fixer, stepping out, his 50-year-old face scarred, a shotgun raised. "The chip, Bennett!" he roared, tears absent, firing, a pellet grazing Claire's arm, blood seeping through her sleeve. "Mom!" Sophie screamed, tears streaming, slashing with her knife, cutting the van's tire. Claire's pain exploded, tears falling, but she floored the gas, ramming the van aside, voice raw. "You're not taking her!" Ramirez fired again, but Titan was a tempest, leaping from the bed, 140 pounds of muscle slamming into him, jaws crushing his shoulder, the shotgun skidding. Operatives swarmed, rifles glinting, but federal agents repelled from choppers, their gunfire a storm, deputies joining the fray. Mike tackled an operative, tears streaming, voice fierce. "For Red Rock!" Ellen fired, tears falling, covering Sophie, who crawled to Titan, tears streaming. "You're my hero!" she sobbed, hugging his bloodied fur. The bunker's door loomed, feds breaching, but Voss's voice boomed over a speaker. "The chip, or they burn!" Tara's laptop showed him, detonator raised, children screaming. "We're out of time," she cried, tears streaming, typing the fail-safe code from Titan's chip. Claire's tears fell, voice raw. "Do it, Tara!" The tablet beeped, the detonator's light flickering. But a new operative lunged, grabbing Sophie, his knife at her throat. "No code!" he barked, tears absent, dragging her toward the bunker. Claire's scream was primal, tears streaming, lunging with her knife, but Hayes, redeemed, broken, surged forward, tears falling, tackling the man, his voice raw. "Not her, you bastard!" The knife grazed Hayes's side, blood pooling, but Sophie broke free, tears streaming, scrambling to Claire. The twist hit like a desert lightning bolt. Ellen's tablet flashed, pulling a final file from Titan's chip, a video time-stamped yesterday showing Voss and a new figure. Agent Laura Reed, a Fed, Voss's mole, funneling PineNet intel to Ramirez. Claire's blood froze, tears streaming, turning to Tara, whose face paled, tears falling. "Laura? Our Fed contact?" she choked, voice breaking. Mike's sob tore free, tears streaming, pistol raised. "She's here, leading the raid!" The bunker door exploded outward, Laura stepping through, her 45-year-old face cold, a pistol aimed at Claire. "Chip now," she said, tears absent, operatives flanking her. Claire's tears streamed, voice raw. "You sold those kids?" Laura's laugh was ice, tears gone. "Voss's empire pays. Feds don't." Titan's howl was a clarion, leaping at Laura, jaws snapping, but she fired, a bullet grazing his shoulder, his yelp shattering Claire's heart. "Titan!" Sophie screamed, tears streaming, throwing a rock, hitting Laura's hand, the pistol flying. Claire lunged, tears falling, tackling Laura, knife at her throat, voice raw. "You're done!" Tara entered the fail-safe code, tears streaming, the detonator shutting down, feds storming the bunker, freeing children. Mike cuffed Laura, tears falling, voice fierce. "For the kids!" Ellen dragged Hayes, bloodied but alive, tears streaming. "You did good, Carl." Sophie hugged Titan, tears falling, his massive form steady despite the blood, his growl of vow unbroken. Claire's tears streamed, clutching Sophie, voice raw. "We're safe, Soph." The desert night burned, Red Rock Valley's heart a cartel ruin. But Pine Net was crumbling, and Claire knew Titan's heroism had saved them, with one final truth waiting to stun the world. Summer sunlight poured over Red Rock Valley, Arizona, its desert plains blooming with wildflowers, the scars of last spring's battle softened by the gentle hum of renewal. Dr. Claire Bennett stood on a rise overlooking the newly opened Titan Sanctuary, a sprawling haven of kennels, training fields, and community spaces built on the ashes of the old sanctuary, now a symbol of hope. At 40, Claire's blonde hair caught the breeze, her blue eyes bright with a hard-won peace, the weight of her accountant's past, targeted by a cartel for her bank codes, finally lifted. Her 12-year-old daughter, Sophie, chased a butterfly nearby, her brown ponytail bouncing, laughter ringing like a bell. Titan, their German shepherd, a retired Marine with 3 tours in Afghanistan, loped after her, his black and tan coat gleaming, brown eyes warm despite the faint scars of bullet grazes and tranquilizer darts. His limp, a badge of his final mission, was barely noticeable as he played, tail wagging. It was August 2025, and Red Rock Valley, once a battleground for Pine Net's trafficking empire, was reborn through a dog's unyielding courage. The cartel's reign had crumbled in a fiery night at the safe house where Titan's instincts and a chipped collar, streaming Pine Net's secrets, had exposed Dr. Alan Voss, Deputy Carl Hayes, and Agent Laura Reed as architects of a child trafficking network. Voss and Reed were in federal custody, their aegis serum experiments, enhancing dogs like Titan into super trackers, seized, their empire dismantled across Arizona. Hayes, redeemed by his sacrifice, faced a reduced sentence while Claire's bank codes, once a cartel prize, were secured. The safehouse raid had freed dozens of children, their faces haunting Claire's dreams but fueling her resolve. The sanctuary, funded by Pine Net's confiscated assets, stood as a testament to Titan's heroism and the community's healing. Claire adjusted a microphone on the sanctuary's stage, her voice steady as she faced a crowd. Townsfolk, reporters, Native American elders, and rescued children, their eyes bright with hope. "This is the Titan Sanctuary," she said, tears glinting. "For Sophie, for the kids we saved, and for Titan, who showed us courage never retires." The crowd cheered, but Claire's gaze was on Titan, nuzzling Sophie, his playful yips a far cry from the war cries that had stopped Voss's detonator. Sophie ran to her, tears falling, hugging her tight. "He's our hero, Mom," she said, voice trembling, her father's memory alive in Titan's loyalty. Dr. Ryan Mitchell, Claire's 38-year-old husband, joined them, his dark hair neat, his veterinarian's hands steady, tears in his eyes. "We lost everything," he said, voice thick, gripping Claire's hand. "But Titan, he gave it back." Dr. Ellen Carter, 55, her gray hair loose, stood nearby, tears streaming as she petted Scout, Titan's sanctuary kin, now a therapy dog. "He's family," she said, voice trembling, her brother's death at Voss's hands, a wound healed by redemption. Sheriff Mike Vargas, 50, His weathered face softened, held Tara Brooks's hand, tears glinting. "Titan didn't just save Sophie," he said, voice raw. "He saved Red Rock." Tara, 35, the hacker-turned-fed, smiled through tears, her laptop now a tool for justice. "He's a legend," she said, voice breaking. The rescued children gathered by a stone monument inscribed, "For the children of Red Rock Valley, May 30th, 2025, and their German Shepherd guardian whose loyalty broke the dark." A boy, 14, named Lucas, approached Claire, his eyes clear, tears falling. "You got us out," he said, voice steady, hugging Sophie, who'd become his friend. Claire's sob tore free, tears streaming, clutching his shoulders. "Titan did, Lucas. You're home now." Sophie's tears fell, voice small. "He's like Dad. Never gave up." Titan nuzzled them, his warmth a bridge to healing, Sophie's laughter a melody of hope. The ceremony pulsed with life, Red Rock Valley's heart beating strong. Ellen took the stage, her voice resonant. "PineNet stole our trust, but Titan rebuilt it," she said, tears falling. "His instincts saw what we couldn't, protected Sophie and those kids when we were blind." She gestured to the kennels where Scout rested, Titan chasing Sophie nearby. "This sanctuary's their legacy, a place for warriors to heal, for kids to find peace." The crowd roared, but a hush fell as Tara unveiled a mural, Claire's design, painted in secret, of Titan, eyes fierce, guarding a child, cacti framing his form. "For my brother," Tara said, tears streaming, voice breaking. "And every soul we brought home." A twist unfolded as Mike stepped forward, holding a sealed envelope, his voice steady. "This was your husband's," he said, tears glinting, handing it to Claire. "Found in Voss's safe house. His last letter." The crowd leaned in, tears flowing as Claire opened it, her voice trembling as she read. "Claire Sophie, if I don't make it, Titan's your shield. He's more than a dog. He's my heart. Trust him." Claire's tears streamed, her heart twisting, her husband's love a lifeline through Titan's courage. "He knew," she whispered, tears falling, hugging Sophie. Ellen's sob was raw, tears streaming. "He sent Titan to save you." Tara's voice broke, tears falling. "He's still with you." A final twist came as an elder, Nita, unveiled a native artifact, a 1970 carving found near the old sanctuary, depicting a German shepherd and pup etched with guardians of the sands. "Our people knew," Nita said, tears glinting, voice resonant. "The dogs were chosen before PineNet's shadow." Claire's heart swelled, tears streaming, the carving proof of Titan's lineage, a protector born for this fight. "He chose us," she said, voice raw, gripping Sophie's hand, Titan's eyes soft, steadfast. The ceremony closed with a drone display, Titan's tracks glowing in the sky, the crowd awestruck. Claire stood with Ryan, Ellen, Mike, and Tara, Titan at their feet, Sophie in her arms, Scout nearby. "We're whole again," Claire whispered, tears falling, her husband's letter warm in her pocket. Ryan's tears streamed, voice thick. "Because of him." Ellen's hand found hers, tears glinting. "He's our heart." Mike hugged Tara, tears falling. "We did right." Lucas joined them, tears streaming, a new son in their fold. The sanctuary's gates opened, visitors learning Titan's story, betrayal, heroism, and a dog's unbreakable bond. Claire knelt by Titan, tears falling. "You're our soul, boy," she said, voice raw. Scout's bark echoing, Sophie's laughter bright. The pain of Voss's empire faded, replaced by love. Titan's loyalty, a beacon for Red Rock and beyond. Pine Net was gone, but Titan's light, courage, instinct, family, shone brighter, a testament to a warrior who never retired. This isn't just a story of survival. It's about loyalty, courage, and the unbreakable bond between a family and their dog. Titan, a retired Marine, saw what no human could, protecting Sophie and countless children from a cartel's darkness with the instincts of a true warrior. His heroism shattered Pine Net, proving that even a scarred veteran can change the world. If this story touched your heart, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with someone who believes in the power of loyalty. Tell us in the comments, what's your story with a loyal pet? Join our community because in Red Rock Valley and everywhere, the tracks of love never fade. Thank you for being part of this journey. Note, this is a fictional story crafted for entertainment and inspiration.